We are live here with the Unfiltered Dirty Air podcast. I got Brandon Fetterplace, first time on camera for anyone that has never seen Brandon Fetterplace, including myself. There he is, right there in the bone and flesh.
In the flesh.
Tommy Reynolds can't afford anything. He's in college, so you don't get to see him. He's not all that great, so you're not missing anything. But anyway,
Yeah, fuck you too.
yeah, Feems, I guess, and he's asleep at his couch, so we decided we were just gonna do it without him. So it's been,
We don't need him.
yeah, we don't need him. I mean, it's been 3 weeks since I've been home, so finally get to be back in my house, back at my computer, able to put some content out. So I'm excited. My voice is a little raspy after the Georgia game tonight, but we're gonna do a podcast here and see if we can ruffle some feathers here tonight, because that's what we do here. So appreciate y'all joining Reynolds and Fetter Place. I guess we'll kind of just start with y'all with tonight, because obviously I didn't race. I heard that there were no cautions other than stage breaks, so that's kind of nice to hear. But I guess just tell us about y'all's race and kind of what y'all thought about it.
Go ahead, Reynolds. You did better than I did.
I was gonna say you had the more interesting story, but it wasn't bad. First stage wasn't bad. It was ended up like sixth or something. Tom pulled some fuel out of his ass per usual, and then second stage I think I finished second to Bren because Tom got loose off of four with like two to go, and then stage three came along. There was a stop at like 155, and then my Discord fucking disconnected like completely. Like I had to log back in and everything. So that was awesome. And then yeah, then Gaiman crashed out, and I didn't even know about it until after the race. So that was awesome, and ended up fourth. So one spot better than the last race here. So I'll take it.
Yeah, I was having a good race with my good buddy and friend David Wright. Um, um, actually, I pretty much had a shit race. I mean, I knew it was going to be shitty whenever I raced. I mean, as soon as I did some practice, I knew it was going to be junk, and most certainly it was. And it was exactly what I thought it was going to be. It really wasn't that great. Um, I think it was the 41 on lap one. Hit the fence. I hit them. Had steering damage for the first 20 laps. I pit. Went a lap down. I thought the race was over because people started getting lapped after that. Um, luckily, I got the lucky dog at the end, or at the end of stage one. Stage two was more of the same shit show. I mean, there were cars everywhere. People were sliding everywhere. People were loose, crashing, trying not to wreck. Um, stage three, that's where my buddy comes in. Uh, so we had this really good race going on for about 20 laps, me and David Wright. And I was faster than he was. I knew I was. Um, he seemed to have burned up his tires before I did. And so, in the attempt of getting around him after 25 laps, he was doing this weird thing in one and two where he would let off. I didn't have to let off. So in one and two, I was like quarter throttle most of the race. I didn't even have to worry about letting off, which apparently Reynolds, you said people were doing. They were letting off in one and two.
I
Um,
was. I mean, I was almost going into turn two. I was maybe, I don't know. At the start of the run, I was half throttle, but towards the end of the run, I was pretty out there because the rear end had no grip for some reason. iRacing decides to make the setups with like, never mind, I'm not going to finish
yeah,
that
that
sentence, but
setup was utter shit. But we had about three to go. I knew I needed to get a run off of two to make it in the three underneath of him. So I got a good run. I come up behind him, and he let off. And as soon as he let off, I wasn't really expecting him to let off that much, and I barely touched him. I mean, I just ever so slightly touched him. Never hit the wall. I mean, I was in full control the whole time. Um, I even braked as he was, trying to gather it back up because I was like, well, if he gathers it back up, I'll let him back in front of me. And just didn't work out. He ended up tank slapping and hitting the fence, and I went off to make fifth. Kind of ironic because last time we were at Darlington, he door slammed me coming out of four whenever I was battling him for fifth. So I finished seventh that race. He finished eighth this race. But other than that, the setup was shit.
oh yeah, thanks for fucking qualifying at the back. That was great. Love that.
Yeah, that was I was not happy. I didn't even, I'm on push to talk as you can see my hand moving every now and again. I didn't say a thing during qualifying because I was not happy, but it is what it is, man. I struggle with these sets, the ones that are really loose like that. I struggle really bad with
Yeah.
them.
I was talking to Cayman. I was like, man, he's waiting for the real fucking last minute here. I was like, there's like a minute 30 left, and I'm like waiting for like a time to populate. And I was like, man, he's really waiting. He's like, dude, he ran both his laps. I'm like, no shit, really? And I couldn't
Yeah,
fucking believe it.
I went out with about five to go, and I'm glad that the broadcast didn't pick it up because I hit the wall, or actually coming out of turn four on my first lap, I almost crashed, and then on the second lap, I banged it off the fence coming out of four again. And I was like, "Yep, that." And I ended up spinning out across the finish line. So I was like, "Yeah, this is gonna be
One of those.
not." Yep.
But I'm yeah, I couldn't believe that it went caution free, and then later at the end, almost screwing everybody's race over. I mean, if that caution was called, not only would he have gotten a penalty, but I don't even think he was involved in the incident. So
Classic Leiter.
yeah, yeah, whatever. But that caution would have been great for me. I would have maybe had a chance at Bryn and um, Daniel and Seth, but
I tell
um,
you what, man, that 41 car pissed me off. He comes out of four. Well, first off, he was all over the damn racetrack all race, right?
yeah,
So when David Wright and I were battling for our 20 lap battle, he comes out of four. He hits the inside wall. He comes back up the racetrack. He hits the outside wall, and as we're coming to him, he decides to come back down the racetrack. Just about killed both of us. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Hit the brakes.
yeah.
Just hit the brakes.
And then somebody got Wansing again. Um, Not a surprise there, but um, I saw it. I think it was your guy, Ryan. I think it was Proudfoot. It was out of turn four. Seth was underneath him. Either
Presidential
Seth,
racing at it again.
Seth either washed up or Proudfoot came down, and somehow I avoided it. But that was like the only real caution that could have happened that whole race.
At least it wasn't a caution. That's all I
Where
can
did
say.
Yeah,
Proudfoot? Oh, Proudfoot finished ninth. That dude is
he didn't do
fast.
bad.
He is really fast, but he was not very good at saving his stuff today, I think.
Um,
'Cause he seemed to fall off pretty bad.
yeah, I don't know. I think if because he had the same issue at Watkins Glen, I think like he is fast, and me and Gaiman were like talking. We were like, we're like, if this guy made the playoffs, we were gonna have an issue. And I don't know what it is. He's fast, but I don't think he knows when to go and when not to go. Because he was saving at really weird points, even during Watkins Glen when he was battling Aiden. Like I flew past him and I was like, why is he saving? He was with Aiden. And I don't know, but he's fast and I I I know he'll figure it out. So
He's a good dude. I mean, I've talked to him quite a bit. Um, so I mean, he's pretty cool, pretty nice guy. Doesn't mind sharing information. We talked for a couple of hours, really, around the time that he first entered the league. Knows his stuff, man. He knows a whole lot more than I do. Um, then come to find out he's a pro license in dirt. I mean, who the hell is pro license in dirt?
yeah.
Very rare.
So, you know, even the dirt master himself, Ryan, up here, he's not even a pro license in dirt.
Nope, I am not. I struggled very bad Tuesday night running on the Logitech up in Michigan. It's okay if you scale back to a Logitech for a super speedway race for A squared or TNT or but yeah, I struggled really bad with that Logitech Tuesday night with the super late models, so I'm excited to run Tuesday night with my old trusty Fanatec here, direct drive. So hopefully I'll be a little bit more competitive. Last Tuesday was bad on my end, and it just I mean anybody knows when you use different equipment, it's tough, especially when you go backwards from using obviously I use Fanatec when I'm here in Georgia, and then when I'm in Michigan, Mackenzie, I use her Logitech G923. So
How is
it's
Canada up there?
yeah, Canada's great. No more fires up there, so yeah, it
That's
was a
good.
good.
I'm tired of smelling their smoke down here.
I know for real, but yeah, it was fun. I was up there for almost 3 weeks. Got home last night at like 2:30 in the morning. Pretty much woke up today. Com- I mean, I was tired of shit. I got up, got ready to go to the Georgia game. obviously I'm still in my Stetson Bennett jersey, so I got to get me a new jersey since Stetson Bennett's over there in Los Angeles now playing for the Rams. But I'll get me a Carson Beck jersey here, hopefully in the next couple weeks. But yeah, it was. I mean, it was good to spend some time with Kinsey, but going backwards on wheel, not only wheel but also PC, especially with as much as we ran at Daytona. That PC that she has is my old PC before I got my new one, and it just, I mean, it would screen freeze on me, 2 or 3 times a lap, and it was just, I mean, I had the graphics turned all the way down, and it was just tough. I mean, you're used to being able to run everything on high graphics and not worry about frame rate and not worry about, you know, lagging or anything unless it's raining outside for me. But so yeah, that was tough for sure, but we got some good finishes. Still using, you know, older, I wouldn't say older, but you know, less equipment than what I'm used to. So I'm excited for where, obviously, unfortunately, Reynolds, you're not running. You didn't make it for HTL, but running
Well,
HTL.
hold on. I
Oh,
got some news.
oh, you got
So,
breaking news here.
He
well,
said, "Hold
un,
on."
it's unfortunate news, sadly, but one of my teammates had to withdraw for personal reasons, and I'll be taking over
Personal
the
saying
90.
you can get in.
No.
Mhm.
I would never take. Honestly, I think Dylan McDonald is faster than me, but
Sounds like
I'll be
some bandit racing shit to me. But
Yep.
I'll be taking over his spot. So
mm,
just a one-time deal. I'm hoping he will be back for the road course.
yeah.
I'll be there in the non-charter car, so should be interesting.
Well, good. I'll push you to the win then on Monday night. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to get back, to a super speedway with my good computer and with the Fanatec, because I tell you that, like I said, I mean, on like mile and a halves and stuff like that, it's not. It is a huge difference, but it's not that big of a difference. I mean, it is, but like when you go to a super speedway, man, like the Fanatec DD2 direct drive compared to the Logitech, dude, it is fucking night and day. I mean, I was running practice, I was trying to get used to it, and I just couldn't hold a line. I mean, I felt like I was racing on a controller, honestly, and
Hell,
I
you might
just
have run better.
I may have. I mean, I should have tried that. She had a controller. I should have tried that and seen if did any better. But yeah, it was just not what I'm used to, unfortunately. So it is what it is. I had to deal with it. I had to, deal with the computer. Had to deal with I mean, it's a TV screen from like the 1990s. It feels like. So I mean, it was not great, but getting, the 4K that iRacing can handle, and so yeah, it was different. So it's good to be home. I mean, obviously I miss Kinsey, but good to be home and have the fast computer, the good computer, the direct drive, and we'll try and go out there in HTL and try and win that thing and
Well, it'll be
actually
good to have
be
you back in A squared next Sunday.
yeah, yeah, I'll be back next Sunday at Kansas. Wasn't really
Yeah.
thinking fully when I changed the schedule. Uh, didn't know Georgia was playing at 6 p.m. Should have known because I bought the tickets back in like February. But honestly, when it comes to Georgia football, I'm sorry, but none of this shit matters when it comes to Georgia football. And I think everybody can agree if you're a huge college football fan and your team's playing at home and you have tickets, nothing else is more important than that. So
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, I'm a Bearcat fan, but I'm probably not as big of a fan as you are to them. I mean, I maybe have a couple of things of merchandise. I might have a hat, a
yeah,
hoodie, but I've never been down to Nippert Stadium. I've been all around it. I used to live right down the street, but I've never even actually been to a game there. So I mean, I
Yeah,
guess
I
it
mean,
is what it is. But
it is. I mean, again, last year I went to probably 4 Georgia games, and normally it's Saturdays, during the day, or I know me and Cody, my cousin Cody Pinnell, who's not in the Discord anymore, but still out there playing bullshit games, not racing with us anymore because he sold all his shit because he's a little bitch. But
what a fucking lame.
yeah, we went to the Georgia and Tennessee game, and man, it was, dude, to this day it is the best college football game I have ever been to in my life. I mean that was nuts. And normally all I miss is SNS, which you know not a not a huge deal when it at least for me. But I don't want to ruffle any feathers here, but we'll get to that in a second. I'll finish this White Claw here. I've been drinking since like 2 p.m. So I'm
God damn.
yeah I'm a little over the top. So that's why I'm
What I mean,
trying to
um,
not say too much, but give me a second and
yeah, I missed out on TNT by like 3 minutes. Um, I've been having a lot of fun over there. I mean, it's my first time
yeah.
ever racing those cars at at all the tracks. So, every track is a learning curve for me. And um, then I missed Daytona, being like 3 minutes down the street. I didn't realize that the lobby was completely locked down. I thought maybe you'd be able to get in after qualifying or whatever,
Yeah.
but nope.
You
So
didn't you didn't
looks like I
miss
didn't miss a whole lot because there was a
yeah.
lot of wrecks. I was watching the
You didn't
broadcast, and
Yeah,
that
you didn't
looked.
miss anything. The problem with TNT this week is, I mean, and again, Rick James, has apologized, 5 times, but that doesn't, that doesn't fix the problem. I mean, and again, I I'll probably get shit for this, but I mean, everybody makes mistakes. I get it. I've made mistakes setting up lobbies before. I've been pretty good this year with A squared stuff. I mean, we really haven't had any issues, but you start the lobby. Nobody really noticed it, but then it was open qualifying, so pretty much your qualifying practice means absolutely jack shit anymore because all you got to do is just go out there and draft and be in the back, and get a tow, and you're going to be on pole. So, I mean, that was the first thing, and then you have unlimited fast repairs, and you know, of course, that everybody says, oh well, even though we have unlimited fast repairs, don't just that doesn't give you the right to drive like a dick. And yes, it doesn't. But does that change people's mindset of how they drive? Absolutely, because you have no repercussions. I mean, and it changes the whole race format. I mean, a lot of us, especially me, um, I at super speedways, I usually either like to stay up front or just go all the way to the back because I know that when that wreck does happen, I can try and avoid it, and not be involved in it. But when you have unlimited fast repairs, you know, what are you really gaining by being in the back? Because those cars are just going to crash, fix their car, and there's no real repercussions for that. So regardless of what anyone says, it changes the outcome of the race. And you you know it could have been me saying it, it could have been Thomas Andrews, it could have been Rick James, it could have been Tom Sears. Anyone could have said, "Hey, don't drive like a dick," but it still changes the way that race runs, and it changes the amount of cautions you have in that race. And I think that's exactly what happened because people weren't scared to push it 3 wide because why would you be? You wreck the car, as long as you can get it back to pit road, you're good, everything's fine, and let her eat. Um, so yeah, that was not a shining moment for TNT, but I mean, like we all have said before, we've all fucked up lobbies before, and that was just a, a big fuck up on a TNT lobby. And I ended up, I was leading, literally coming to the white flag, and of course green white checkers were off. So we come to the white flag, and it was literally a not even a green white checker, just a one lap shootout, and I was in the lead, and I got too good of a start, and then Briley and Noah got really good run on the outside. Noah pulled in front of me. I was in second, and then Steven Oberstadt pushed Briley in the corner. Just a silly move in the middle of the corner. Turned Briley down into me, and I turned up, and the whole rest of the field wrecked, and Noah just went on to, didn't he? He could have let off and coasted and still won that race. So unfortunate, was in there for a podium finish, and I almost even wish
Catch up.
that, yeah, I wish it would have went one more lap so that the race would have just ended under caution and I would have won, but I wouldn't have been happy with how that, you know, how I got that win. So, but yeah, it happens. Shit happens, and it was a bad night for TNT for sure.
Yeah, I've watching it from the broadcast side. You could just see that there were, checkups and stuff happening, and then like this giant accordion effect would just happen, and then all of a sudden cars were just flying everywhere, wrecking and whatnot. So it definitely didn't look like a very fun race, but you know,
Yeah, no,
hey, I still didn't want to miss it. I wished I was there.
yeah. Overall, it was still an okay race. Just based off the circumstances. I wish that somebody would have noticed a little bit sooner. And that's on me too. I should have looked. Because if we would have saw it, 10 minutes into practice, maybe we could have set up a new lobby to have it the correct way it should have been. And I think it would have been a much better race. Because then, everybody's got to kind of worry about, you only have that one fast repair. So if you wreck, you know, hard that one time, then that's it. That's all you got. But we didn't have that, so it was pretty much,
Oh yeah, that race changes 100% if they
yeah,
had one fast repair. I mean,
absolutely. And again, like I said before, it doesn't matter how many admins or owners tell you, hey, don't drive like a dick, don't drive stupid. It doesn't matter. It changes the entire outlook of the race because you no longer have to worry. It'd be different if
Yeah.
it was like a Kansas or a Texas, so what? You have unlimited fast repairs, it's not that big a deal. But Daytona, holy shit, that changes the whole fucking race. Like I said, you don't have that strategy of what me and, Tommy Withers and people like that normally, sit back, wait for the wrecks, avoid them. That doesn't exist anymore because those guys are going to wreck, and unless they have to tow, they're not going to lose anything. So, it was a, you know, hiccup. Um, but I do know that Thomas Andrews is setting up all the lobbies moving forward. So, Rick James has been pulled as the lobby setup person for TNT. So, hopefully that'll fix the issue moving forward. And Thomas Andrews took accountability for it as well. He said, "Hey, I should have looked it over." Um, and I feel the same way. I should have looked it over too. Regardless of the series, it's kind of on me, to just make sure everything's running smoothly. And TNT definitely was uh, not good last week, but we'll get it
it
fixed. And
happens.
yeah, shit happens. It is what
I
it
mean,
is.
human element.
Yeah,
The human element makes mistakes. It just happens.
absolutely.
So if people were turned off by one bad race, then they
Hmm.
didn't want to be there to begin with.
Very
Um,
true. And it was,
It
I
is
mean, it
what
was a
it is.
light field. I mean, well, I'll say light field. It was eight, we had 18 people in the field, so I mean, it wasn't terrible, but normally super speedway races, we usually always see, 20, 25, just because everybody loves super speedways, because everybody's got a shot to win. I mean,
Fucking shoot me.
yeah, I mean, you put Patrick Allen in there, and I mean, he's got a shot to win. I mean, he was there at the end. He really was. He was behind me. I was in first with one to go, and Patrick Allen was behind me in third, and I was sweating my balls off because I knew that Patrick Allen was going to shove me and wreck me, and but he actually did. He did pretty well. I'll give him a little shout out for it.
So how do you feel about you want to talk about Daytona and A squared and all the things that transpired after that?
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, we'll just dive right into it. I mean, I mean, we had an incident that we had to look at, and um, we look at every incident that anyone brings to our attention. As much as people don't like, well, yeah, I'll leave it at that. As much as people don't like Matthew Kent sometimes, and some of the decisions he makes, Matthew Kent is a huge help for me personally in A squared, and ARCs overall. Um, some of the things he does, yeah, it might be questionable, but some of the things I do are questionable. Some of the things that TNT does are questionable. I mean, SNS, I mean, don't even get me started on that. But I mean, Kent is a huge help for me on Sunday nights because at the end of the race, me and Matthew Kent and James Kerr is usually always there. James Kerr is a huge help. Um, and Tom Sears helps when he can. Seth and Toby have kind of been absent, for a while. I don't really know how tonight went, obviously, because I wasn't there. So I'm hoping that Seth and um, obviously Toby doesn't even race anymore. So I don't even know if he's really considered an A squared admin anymore. But um, yeah, I mean, Kent has just been a huge help. And we go through every caution, we go through every, issue. We go into, the hauler, we bring all the drivers in, we discuss everything. Um, and that restart was brought to our attention by several drivers. Um, I appreciate Blake Henderson saying I'm the best driver of all time. That's that's the first time I've heard that in a long time, but hell, I'll take it. Hey, Blake, you thought I was good on the Logitech. Wait till I go on this damn direct drive for you Monday night, buddy. I'll bring you home the win. I guarantee you. If Tommy Reynolds don't get in my way, I, or Seth. If well, Seth's not in it because he wrecked the whole damn field.
Yeah,
Yeah,
fucking god damn it.
one to
I
go.
had that shit off of fucking 4, let it be known.
You did, but Seth said, well, Seth, to be fair, Brendan Proudfoot did cut him off, and that's a whole nother thing. We're not gonna
We'll
get
talk
into
about that
that.
in a minute.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that later. But yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, you and Seth had it. Y'all were working together, and then Seth just. I'm not really sure what Seth was thinking, but um, that's HTL, so that's a whole nother thing. We'll talk about that maybe in another podcast. But um, fuck, I don't even remember what I was talking about now. I don't lost
See,
my.
that's who we should have fucking brought on. We should have got fucking Blake in here.
We should have. Oh, we still can. I mean, we can
Yeah,
get Blake
Blake,
in here.
quit being a
Blake,
hoe. Get in here.
yeah, Blake, if you want to invite, we'll send you an invite. We'll get you on the podcast live, buddy. Just
Talking all that smack in the chat. Once you get
yeah.
in here,
Fella Georgia,
he's available.
fella Georgia boy. He loves the dogs. Either that or Georgia Tech. And if he's a Georgia Tech fan, then yeah, we're not bringing him in if he's a Tech fan. But
Don't worry, we have no idea what we're talking about either.
Yeah, we really don't. We just talk shit and we make
Just
fun of
making it
other.
happen
Yeah, we make fun of other people. So
since
yeah,
Fame sucks.
Feem does, but he's my driver, so I can't say too much about him,
Yeah,
except for
you
the
can.
fact,
You're the perfect guy to talk shit.
well, except he's not here. But I talk shit about
True.
Merrick Watchhorn. I mean, I'll go all night about Merrick
Oh,
Watchhorn.
Jesus Christ.
This fucking guy. Yeah, he joined another league that I'm in, and I'm gonna sit back and watch the mayhem.
Yeah, go for it. I think he can still. I mean, I'm sure he still can watch, because it's not like he's banned from Twitch, so he's probably watching it right now. But I really don't give a shit, honestly. I don't care. Um, that's what this podcast is about, pissing people off and
Well,
you
I
know
mean,
making
so
it up
let's
next
let's
week.
get back on track here. So,
Yeah.
as you said, Daytona had some interesting moves.
Correct. That's what we were talking about.
I didn't know anything about it. I was off in La La Land apparently because of COVID, since I had COVID for like fucking a week.
Yeah.
Um, dude, I'm still fucking kind of foggy, really, to be honest with you. But I was off in La La Land, so whatever happened on those restarts or that restart, I had no idea. So I actually
Yeah.
got to hear about, and I didn't even watch. Like people in the interview waiting room were being shown the replays, um, and I could hear the responses of them. But like I said, I didn't watch it. So if any of you had watched it, then by all means tell me what exactly happened. But it didn't sound good from what I
Oh
heard.
yeah. I mean Reynolds was the one that brought it up. Well, not just Reynolds. There were other drivers.
Well, as a matter of fact, your teammate was the other one who brought it up.
Yeah. I mean
Better
Proudfoot.
place.
Well, Proudfoot also brought
Oh,
it up. So yeah, it was one of my teammates as well as one of Fetter Place's teammates, as well as Tommy Reynolds, as well as a couple others that we won't name, that all were very upset with that restart. Um, yeah, it was bad. I mean, we went back and watched it.
How bad was it? Because like I said, I had actually talked to I'm pretty sure we all know. I mean, Aiden. I had talked to him later on,
Yeah.
and he made it sound like it wasn't that big of a deal. I asked him about it. I asked him what had happened. I was just genuinely curious. I mean, I just wanted to know, and he told me his side. And I mean, if you guys watch the replay, by all means.
Yeah. I mean, so we looked at it, obviously, and of course the chat's gonna go nuts over this, but again, it's what we saw.
Fuck that chat.
Yeah, I mean, it was short shifting, um, and it was enough to where the inside line did not go at all. Josh Garrison actually beat Aiden back to the start finish line, which, again, NASCAR rules are as long as the leader launches first, it doesn't matter if the outside car beats him to the line. So did he launch first? Yes. Um, and Joshua Garrison beat him to the line. Then Noah also, pushing Joshua Garrison. They both were clear, came down low, and then at that time, because the inside line got checked up as bad as it did, um, the field wrecked. And, you know, yes, it is everyone's job to check up for the car in front of them, but sometimes it happens so fast that you can't react other than just you either have to pull right or pull left. Like there is no other option. Like I know that
Was that
everyone.
the restart where they pretty much accordioned and people were wrecking in the back? Is that the one that we're talking about?
Correct.
I believe.
Yeah, it was lap 80, coming to lap 80. Yeah, I mean it was an accordion effect, and it was because the leader didn't, and again, like I said, every restart that we looked at before that, the leader hits, you know, red lines, shifts, red lines, shifts, red lines, shifts. And that's what you would kind of expect from anyone that's leading a race. Um, that did not happen. It was second gear shift at 51, 6100 RPMs. Get to third, now you're in third. You shift at 6, 7,000 RPMs. Now you're in fourth, and now the whole inside line is stacked up, and it caused a wreck. I mean, regardless of, yes, I understand that 6 rows back, yeah, they should have checked up too, but when that lead car that brings the pace to the field doesn't go 100%, everyone behind you is expecting you to go 100%, and that did not happen. So people were, obviously, like, Reynolds was pushing him. Reynolds was full on pushing him
I had pushed
100%.
him before he had even started going because I tried to shove him because I knew his teammates were coming. That's how hard I was pushing him.
Well, even then, like on a restart, like you said, we're expecting the leaders to take off. Um, but you really, depending on how far you are in the back of the field, you cannot see that far. So if there is a massive checkup, you can't see it. You have no idea.
Yeah, you really
So
can't. Yeah.
you try your best. Like I normally I do my restarts. I try to stay, a quarter car, half a car off of the guy in front of me, just in case. Like if I'm that far back. Um, but I can tell you right now, I don't know what's happening 2 cars in front of him. Whoever's in front of me, I have no idea. So if you don't go, and then there is a massive accordion effect, by the time it gets to me in the back of the field, uh, it is almost like someone just locked all the tires down. Like it was pretty much like someone just held the brake because the car in front of you stops so fast you can't do anything about it.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay, well, as the guy who brought up the incident, let me just say my 5 cents here. I've been quiet the whole time, and I'm like mentally
Get it, girl.
breaking down inside.
mhm.
Um, on the restart, I knew that he was either going to jump and try and let them down behind him, or he was going to go, and then as soon as he got to turn one, he was gonna try and let them down any means possible. I did, and I that was my reason for absolutely slamming him off the restart and then him not going.
Mhm.
So his excuse of him saying he's got to save fuel, regardless of that argument, it's not a legitimate argument because all of his teammates made it to the end of the race on fuel. And saying and I and saying that your teammates aren't taking the same amount of fuel as you when you all pit at the same time is just bullshit. Everybody on your team communicates and says they're taking the same amount of fuel. You all decide on the fuel amount, and I pretty certain that's what you guys did too, right?
Yeah, I mean, I had enough fuel to make it to the end. I mean,
Yeah, but you tell your teammates how much fuel you're taking under the caution or the
yeah,
green flag stops, right? Yeah, okay.
yeah, we all do.
So
I mean,
regardless of him, even him getting out a second ahead, that could be him getting a good, better, not launch, but um, braking zone into the pit lane, and then a better stop out of his box. That could be him missing the box and not missing the box. It's as simple as that. But again, we didn't go look at that, so I don't know. I no, this argument he has is not legitimate. It's just dumb.
yeah, well, he said he's never less than 60% throttle, which, and that right there is, you should be 100% throttle. No questions asked. You're the leader. You should be 100% throttle. I mean, you're never less than 60% throttle. What? Uh, what? It's Daytona, bro.
So what?
It's Daytona. I
I
mean, and
mean,
and again, I mean, I'm not trying. I mean, I am trying to stir shit up because this is what this podcast is for. And then we looked at it and we talked between admins. We brought several people in. We brought Thomas Andrews in. We brought Tom Sears in. We brought, John Smill had his opinion, even though he's not an A Squared admin. James Kerr had his opinion. If Seth was available, we would have asked for his opinion. It, we talked to everyone, and we tried to look at the situation. Was I upset in the moment? Abso-fucking-lutely, I was upset. As anyone would have been, as a league owner and a league admin, they would have been upset because yes, you're not going 100. Okay, yes, okay, maybe you're going 100% throttle, but you short shift well beyond the red line, and you know I don't understand that. I am very good at saving fuel. It's one of my better qualities on iRacing is saving fuel. But I save fuel under caution. I save fuel, going down pit road, coming out of pit road. That's where I save fuel. I don't save fuel if I'm the leader coming to a restart. I'm
What?
sorry,
At
but
super speedways, you can't save fuel as a lead car. You just can't.
no,
You
you
So,
can't.
can, but when you're going, that's when you save fuel, not off the restart under a green
or you
white
don't
checker
redline
condition.
whenever. See, these cars are strange after the update. You don't shift at redline anymore. You don't have to rev these things to the moon.
Mhm.
Um, but then again, you also don't shift at like 5,000 RPM
Yeah.
or 4,000, whatever it was.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
but at super speedways, you're going to want to try and get as close to that red line as you can because if you push it too far, yeah, you're going to hit the chip and you're going to lose momentum. But if you shift early, obviously you're going to lose way more momentum than than you do if shove that thing to red line and then you know bang it
I,
off the
And
chip
I'm
and
too
then
lazy to
shift.
read his paragraphs in the chat. So the main argument that he had was that he
he
was
was
letting his
saving
teammates in
fuel.
front of him. Is that
No, he
basically
was
what he?
saving fuel. That was his main argument.
Oh, saving fuel. So that particular restart, you're going to save enough fuel to make it.
Yeah.
I listen. I don't. I don't have any bad things against Aiden. Like I said, I talked to him a little bit. Trying to figure out where those guys were at and why. As as we all found out, the entire team left. Um, which I think is a shame. I mean, those guys are fast. They're good to race with. Um, Not to mention, am I shocked that there was actually a penalty? Because our race control hasn't really dished out a whole lot of penalties this season, in my
Yeah.
opinion. They just haven't, and there's been a lot of things that should have been penalties that weren't called. Um, so I think it's a shame that they all left. I think they're great people to race around. I do think Aiden takes his sweet time poking holes in the rule book on purpose, and I think him making the playoffs was a troll. It is what it is. But you know, I don't. I don't think those guys should have left. I mean, I guess I get it, but I don't. I don't have issues with racing people that are faster than me. Actually, I think it makes me better. You know, but
I don't either, and I mean that.
Well, here's the thing. So I was also upset because the what was it? Was Watkins Glen the week before?
Mhm.
yeah,
Vic Aiden and
Proudfoot was on his ass.
no, but it was Aiden and somebody in the chat, and they were deliberately talking about this, and I can't believe they were talking about it in front of this person. And they had planned it out. It wasn't like they were joking. They were deliberately planning this out that if somebody were relatively got close to them and they were on their bumper, they were going to just brake check the shit out of him. They're going through the corner and just call it a day. And I heard that, and I said it to Kent before the race, and it obviously never happened. But um, I mean, I don't know. It like after that, I lost all respect because I just couldn't believe that you would deliberately say something like that with another person in the chat and expect something not to come of it. You know what I mean? But after that, what else happened? But yeah, then instead of taking the penalty on the chin and accepting what happened, even if it was fucking wrong, and why wouldn't you come back the next week and fucking overcome it? You know what I mean? Like, it's just a fucking bitch move. Withdraw your whole fucking team after 26 races.
That's why I said it was just a troll. I mean, there's nobody who joins this league who is going to make the playoffs and then get into a little skirmish and get a penalty and then just quit. I mean,
Yeah, and I mean, at
it
the
was a
end of
troll.
at the end of the day, you know, I feel the worst for Joshua Garrison, honestly, because he left Prophecy, went to Bandit, and then literally within 2 weeks of him joining Bandit, Bandit pulls their team from A squared, and Joshua Garrison's like, you know, he's like the redheaded stepchild. He's just, now he can't race anymore because his team just withdrew from competition, and Joshua Garrison never did anything wrong. I mean, Joshua Garrison, I guarantee you, I can ask you all 200 members in ARCS if Joshua Garrison has ever raced anyone dirty or, you know, hard or any, and the answer would be no. Joshua Garrison is a class act of a race car driver on iRacing, and he is a very good friend of mine. He helps me with the Dirt Series on Tuesday night, and you know, I love Joshua Garrison, but you know, he got caught up in the shit, and I don't. Of course, our rules don't allow. You can't change the roster now because it's locked in. So, and Bandit pulled. That was their decision. We didn't force that on them. We didn't tell them that they had to pull their. I mean,
But
right?
it's typical because after every some kind of somewhat big incident, they have a fucking mental breakdown like a 7-year-old child, and no matter what series, Ignition they did the same thing. Aiden didn't agree with the penalty and then had a mental breakdown over the chat in the race and then lost his mind in the whole Discord. So I mean, it's not like this hasn't happened before, and I mean, I don't know. So it's typical.
Oh, I
I
mean,
mean, I don't agree with them leaving. I think it's a shame, like I said, but that's ultimately their choice. If they don't want to race, they don't have to race. I mean, it is what it is.
yeah. I mean,
It was just a shame to have that come about, I think, because they were
I
really
mean,
good in team points, I believe, right? They
yeah.
were
They
doing
were they were up
doing really
there.
well.
Yeah, they were up there in the top, two, three, I think. I haven't done team points in a while because I haven't been home, so I haven't had the document to do the team points. But I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, uh, you know, everybody feels like they're being targeted. Whatever. Every team's being targeted. This team's being targeted. That team's being
Felt like
targeted.
Darlington was targeting me tonight.
Yeah, and it may have been. I don't know. Who knows? But I mean, we do the best that we can to try and be fair. But when 5 or 6 drivers tell us to look at a certain restart, we look at that restart. And when we looked at it, it didn't look good. So we did what we had to do to make that call. And was it the right call? I don't know. Maybe not. But it was something that we had to do because it it, it affected the outcome of the race. And, again, this is why I get so frustrated because this is we're driving fake race cars for, I mean, everybody in here is racing for free. You ask how many leagues are out there that race for free.
I mean,
There's,
I pay for a subscription. I don't know.
yeah, I mean, well, I mean, yeah, you pay for iRacing, but Arx does not charge anything to run in any of their series. A lot of series charge entry fees, whether it be $10 for a season, $25 for a season. Shit, some of them charge $50 for a season. I mean, it's very rare to find a series that you can run for free and we still just get shit on. And I mean, I get it. Like I do. Like is A squared perfect? No, it's not. I've never claimed that A squared is been perfect. I, but we do the best we can. We have Kent that helps us in race control. He works for free. He's playing baseball. He can't always commit. You know, me and Kerr are usually the only two that are, consistently there for A squared as far as drivers. Seth and Jeremy or well, Tom Sears is usually there. I'll give Tom Sears that, but you know, uh, we do the best we can. I mean, and that's I think what frustrates me more than anything is like we're trying to make a decision, and even in that chat, Reynolds was in there with me, and I told everybody that was in that chat. There was probably 9 or 10 people in there, and it shouldn't have been 9 or 10 people in there, but there were. If we don't do anything, 50% of people are going to be pissed. If we do something, 50% of people are going to be pissed. No
Yeah, hearing
matter,
the
yeah,
hearing the reactions of that video, whatever was being streamed of that incident. Yeah, you're right. I mean, there were going to be a lot of people who weren't happy. Um, but I mean, you guys had to do something. Let's be honest. Like I said, race control really hasn't done much all season.
yeah,
Haven't penalized a whole lot of people. So me personally, I was actually surprised there even was a penalty of any sort. But like I asked Aiden, I was like, "Do you think you got a penalty because you're one of the most outspoken people in the chat? Do you think that's why? Do you
yeah.
think, because you're such a stickler for the rules and you're always poking holes in things and kind of doing the gray area, you know, do you think that's why? I mean, what do you think?"
I mean, me personally, in the moment, yes, that did have an effect on how I felt in the moment, but how I felt in the moment was very pissed off, and I didn't act on how I felt in that chat, and in the holler, we talk shit to each other. We all know this. We talk shit to each other. That's how we get it. I mean, hell, I've argued with Thomas Andrews. You can ask Reynolds. Me and Thomas Andrews, we went to bat with each other in that holler. We were throwing lefts and rights with each other. But in this moment right now, I love Thomas Andrews. I don't have any hard feelings with him. But that's because I respect him. And I respect everyone that comes in the holler. Yes, do I say some things that are maybe harsh? Absolutely. Because a lot of people don't understand, and I even said that in the holler. I said, a lot of people don't understand what I do to help this league. Like, the sessions, when we do recruiting, when we pay for broadcasts, you know, all this stuff, and then it's just like these little nitpicky things, which are, again, they are important, and I do want to talk about them, but at the same time, it just gets frustrating, on my end, and but yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, Aiden's in there talking now, saying, that I told him he's a cancer to ARCs. I think he is, but that's talk that we had in the hauler. When I get out of the hauler, I have no hard feelings against Aiden. I really don't. I don't like that Bandit Racing pulled their team from A squared. That's not what I wanted. I don't want any team to pull out of A squared. Like I don't. That's not what I want. That's not what I'm trying to
Yeah, I was going to say
accomplish.
I don't think it helps anybody. It really doesn't. I mean, even if your plan was to get him out, get that team out, it doesn't really help the league. I mean, it doesn't help the racing. It doesn't help the broadcast. It's not helping anything. Um,
No,
so for them to leave,
it's not. And I'm not,
it's really an issue for everybody.
and it is, but at the same time, Bandit Racing could have kept racing for the rest of the year. I would not have treated them any differently than any other team. I wouldn't have. I really honestly would not have. If they had an issue that is related to one of their drivers, then yes, I would. The same way that if one of my drivers, and I don't know, I wasn't there tonight. Obviously there was no cautions other than stage breaks, so there couldn't have been too much shit going on, but if one of my drivers is has that same issue for a restart penalty or a restart issue, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna go, well, it's my driver, fuck it. I'm gonna look at it the same way I look at it with any team that's in A squared. Any team. It doesn't matter what the team is. It could be Brandon. It could be Tommy Reynolds. It could be Seth. It could be uh James Kerr. It doesn't matter. Whatever team it is, if that happens, we look at it. So I'm not outing one team. I'm not. But it just happened to be that one situation was that team, and you had two team members on your outside. You check up the inside, the whole field wrecks. I I didn't do that. I didn't make that happen. I'm just looking at it after the fact, and I hate it. I hate that they pulled their team. I didn't want that. That is not what I wanted. It's not what Tom Sears wanted. It's not what Matthew Kent wanted. It's not what James Kerr wanted. We wanted them to compete because Briley would, since Aiden pulled his, which I mean, Aiden pulled his playoff card. I knew Briley was right behind him, but if he didn't, Briley would have been the next one in, and Briley could have competed for a playoff spot. But instead, Briley pulled his whole team out, and so that let Leiter get in because he was the next in line behind Briley. And is that what I wanted? I mean, it's good for Leiter. Yeah, he got in the playoffs, but is that what I wanted? No, it's not
Yeah,
what
it
I
needs to
wanted.
be
I mean,
whoever was the fastest at the cutoff or made enough points got in. Um,
yeah, I
but
mean,
I also don't believe that you should take this what happened. I mean, this was their decision.
yeah,
I don't wholeheartedly believe that you should take it. From what it sounds like, you take it pretty hard. I don't know why. I mean, I get it because they left and it doesn't help the league, but I honestly think that that was their decision. If they don't want to race and they want to race the other series, then that's fine. I get to see those guys on Thursdays, um, and so be it. We move on. The racing goes on. There's still a championship to be had. That helps out anyone who was behind Bandit Racing in the team championship. So I mean, yeah, it sucks, but hey, it is what it is. And guess what? They just relieved a couple of spots for people who actually want to be here. So I mean,
yeah,
I think it sucks that they're not here, but at the same time, okay.
yeah. I mean, I do take it hard. I mean, y'all know me. I mean, I try and make everything perfect, and I think that's one of the negative parts about me is I want everything to be perfect. I mean, that's why like the shit that happened with TNT. If I was at home and I had as many beers as I usually have when TNT starts, it would have been the same as when SNS did Talladega, and I unloaded on them, and then I got shit on because I unloaded on them. It's not okay for me to do that, um, but it's okay for other people to do it. It's kind of where I come from, you know, it, because I am the owner. So I have to take that step back and bite my tongue when another series fucks something up. But we make a call and everyone jumps down our throat. You know what I mean? And
Well, I mean, everybody seems to care. Like Aiden pointed out in the chat, whenever you guys were arguing about his penalty on the Discord, he was yelling out stuff about TNT. Like, that doesn't matter.
yeah.
That's a totally different series. Who
Hmm.
Oh,
cares?
yeah, it's the only series he fucking participates in because he gets sucked off daily for that one. So, I mean,
Wow,
it's
that escalated quickly.
Yeah.
whatever, but
No comment. Yeah, I mean,
But
but it is. I mean, every series that we run, every night of the week, you know, when it comes down to it, me and Tom Sears are responsible for those series. We're the two owners of ARCs. Obviously, I've been a little bit more involved than Tom Sears has been because I've been more available than Tom has been because he travels for work, being a traveling electrician, so he's not always available. Um, but
Tom, Tom, Tom Sears. Let me just say that man, he's awesome. I love racing for
he
him. I
is.
think he's a cool dude, man. I hope one day I get to meet him. Um, but I'm telling you right now, we went to the or we went to the hauler, for me and David Wright. This goofy ass joins the hauler and then goes and takes a shower apparently, and then because we waited on him,
Yeah.
Kent was like, "Hey, Sears, are you ready? Are you ready?" I mean, he was doing this for like 5 or 10 minutes, and all of a sudden, in the middle of it, Sears comes back and he says, "Oh, sorry guys, I'd like to see that again. I was just taking a shower." What? Oh
That's
man! So I just
yeah,
thought that was funny. He's a trip.
it's fucking hilarious.
yeah. And I mean, like I said, it's I mean, you know, and I put in one of our other chats. I'm part of Team Sideswipe. Y'all remember Sideswipe was everybody hated Sideswipe there for a little while.
I wasn't cool enough to be around then.
Yeah,
I've heard stories, but I wasn't
that
part of
was
it.
back when we still ran Gen 6 on Monday nights. Um, that was when Team Sideswipe was really around. Um, Team Sideswipe was, they weren't liked because we raced each other how everyone else raced us, and a lot of people didn't like that. And whatever, that's a long time ago. That's the past. Doesn't matter. But anyway, I'm in a chat with them, and I talked about how the TNT session was fucked up. It was not right. It was fucked up. Like from fucking get to go, from get to go, it was not right. And I had like two or three people in our chat say, "Well, why don't you why don't you you know why don't you ream them out like everybody else reams you out?" And I had to be like, "Well, I can't. I mean, I'm in a position where I can't. You chalk it up to human error, and that's exactly what it was. It's human error, and but you know again, and I know that's different than fucking rules and shit like that. But I mean, again, I will never forget in the hauler, and I'll tell you all this right now, and I'll tell everybody that's watching right now. What happens if A squared did allow controllers the first half of the year, and then I changed it to where you couldn't run as a controller when I made that decision because Bandit Racing said, "Hey, Noah wants to run full time," and I said, "That's fine. I'm okay with it. Controllers can run. That's fine." Who said who who said anything? Who 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 bitched at me for changing rules mid-season? I'm being completely honest. In chat, in here, Reynolds, Fetter Place, anybody listening, who bitched out? Who came to me and said, Ryan, you're a fucking bitch. You just changed the rules mid-season. Flip the script. What happens? What happens if I ban controllers 26 weeks in instead of allow them? What happens to me?
Oh, I'm pretty sure you'll have some pretty busy DMs. There'll be a lot of
Exactly.
people
Why?
unhappy. I mean, I think rule changes of any kind in the middle of the season are highly frowned upon.
I agree. I mean, I don't. The only reason I did it was because I felt like that rule was the only reason we made that rule is because we were trying to keep it realistic to, you know, as close to real racing as possible. And obviously, and I've said it on this podcast before. Next year, it'll be completely legal. Will Noah come back? I don't know. Probably not. So, I mean, and again, everybody's saying, well, you're not going to get. I mean, fucking Aiden in the chat saying you're not going to get praise for something you broke in the first place. That's not what I'm saying, Aiden. I'm saying if the fucking tables were flipped, how much shit would I have gotten for doing that?
Well, yeah, again, it doesn't matter because it benefits his team. So, I mean,
I mean, and it doesn't matter what I do. It doesn't matter what I do, when I do it, what the fuck I come up with. It doesn't matter, you know? And that's what's so fucking frustrating to me. And again, maybe I shouldn't even be in the position that I'm in because all I do is try and make everyone have an enjoyable racing experience to try and keep it as fair as possible. And then I have people that are constantly on my ass. And do I make mistakes? Yes, of course I do. I'm a fucking human being. Rick James made a mistake for TNT. Nobody fucking criticized his ass. I mean,
They're probably
S
they're probably more quiet about it because they're afraid of him melting them down in the chat or in
I
the in
I
the Discord.
I mean, I don't care. I mean, SNS makes mistakes. A squared makes mistakes. Fucking dirt, my dirt lobbies, I make mistakes in those too. I mean, I guess my whole point is if we don't come together as a community, I don't know how much longer this shit can keep going on. It's just, we have so many good series and we have so many good drivers, but then we have some that just like I don't know. Like I don't get it. I don't understand what their goal is. I don't understand what their end game is. I don't know. Like I don't get it. I really don't.
So I kind of have my own 2 cents to what you just said. I think then again, I mean, I understand where you're coming from. You talked about, taking things personally and wanting things to be the best that they can be. Um, you know, ultimately, ARCs as a whole is very successful. That's why we have what do we? I mean, who's here? 300 people, and like 100 of them are quiets alts.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I mean, we have tons of people here. I know me personally. I've brought in at least 6 people because I like this league as a whole. I'm not saying it's without flaws. I'm just saying that I like it. I talk to a lot of people and I tell them how great this place is and how much I enjoy racing here and how much, I can't wait till Sundays or Thursdays or whatever, series I'm in. Um, with that being said, shit happens. Who cares? I know plenty of league owners out there that don't give a fuck what their drivers think. They don't care what happens. They have their rules, they have what they want to say, and everyone else can fuck right off. And if that means that you leave in the middle of a season, then you leave. You paid your entry fee. Again, not a free league. And you have to deal with that. There is no refunds.
Mhm.
You That's it. So for what ARCS is as a whole, I know Aiden and a couple of other people give you shit, uh, but ultimately, I don't think it is from a place to where he wants to ruin everything. I feel like he gives you the shit in hopes that what he feels needs to be changed gets changed. Now, is that right? Probably not. He could probably go about it a better way. Um, and but for you to feel as down as you do a lot of times about this sort of stuff, I feel like if you that you don't really mean it. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that this place is really successful. Clearly, you guys have been doing this for a while, and I'm bringing in new people. I'm sure other people are bringing in new people. Um, there's really, I mean, it's just a couple of issues. Who cares?
Mhm.
Who cares? I mean, really, you guys have been doing this forever. You're gonna let one or two people who are upset completely alter how you feel about your own damn league? You should be
I
excited.
Yeah, I mean I am. I mean I love A squared. I mean the fact that I mean obviously I don't know how many people showed up to Darlington. I wasn't there, but I
I
mean
think it was 18 or
It
something
was
like
Saturday. You fucked everybody up.
I did, including myself. So I mean oh, we'll
that.
leave Darlington out, but I mean the fact that we 26, 25, 26. Really you add the Clash and the All-Star race. It's 28 weeks into a season and we're averaging 20 to 25 people on a Sunday night. I, I'm I'm so super happy about that. Like that is amazing. Like you look at every other league. Like again, like we'll bring up ABN's Cup Series. Started off huge numbers, and I think the last race I looked at, they had like 12 or 13 start, and other leagues have that same issue. Like even with our dirt and our extreme, TNT is still early in the season, so they haven't really seen that fall off. SNS has seen that fall off in season one. Um, I think that's awesome. Like that, A squared's 28 weeks into a season, and we're still averaging 20 to 25 drivers a week. Like that's that's pretty cool to me. Like that means something. I mean, that's obviously, something is going in the right direction if you're averaging, 20 to 25 drivers. I mean, yeah, next year we may be a little bit higher than that, but there'll still be some people that'll drop off and I think every league on iRacing deals with that same issue. Like you start the series and everyone's excited, you may have 20, 30 people show up the first race, and then by race six, you're looking at 12 people showing up. And
Yeah, that's what I was doing. Sorry to interrupt you.
you're good.
I was looking up what I paid for RSR, which is my other league. Um, they I paid $40 to be on a waiting list.
Yeah.
When I finally got to race, um, I've raced all this season. Um, there went from, just like you said, there's a huge drop off. Those guys over there. I mean, I paid $40 to get in. I raced. Pretty much at this point, there was, let's see, at the beginning of the season, there was 15 people in the waiting list, including a full field. And this point in the season, there is no one on the waiting list, and they can't even make a full field right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. I mean, all leagues deal with this. The drop off.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone struggles with it. I mean, that's you can like I said, we could bring Karma on here and ask her about, the ABN drop off with the Cup Series and even Champ Car. TNT had it the last season. People started dropping off as the season went on. SNS has had it. You know, Everybody gets so excited for that first race, for that first race of the season, And then, 3 or 4 races in, it's like all of a sudden, I mean, ignition is a perfect example. I mean, of course, we've promoted a lot of people with an ignition, but ignition, car count right now is struggling. Um,
Yeah, if
and
I win 2 races in ignition, there must be a huge drop off.
yeah, and that, I mean, uh, unfortunately for John Smeal, I've kind of put him in a shitty situation because every time a roster change happens, all the owners, they're dropping their dead weight, or drivers that don't show up, or they can't make it anymore because their schedule changed, or whatever. They're going straight to ignition, pulling those drivers up. I mean, I did it. I pulled up Brandon Proudfoot, to my team. Several other people. I mean, Dale Markowski's been pulled up as a part-time driver. Um, Several others that I could probably go through, but and that's the whole point. That's why we created Ignition, and it started off with all these drivers, but now we've kind of picked them, one by one. All these owners are picking these drivers, and of course, yeah, Ignition is struggling now with driver count. I mean, Nick Fisher hasn't raced in 6 months, and he's still in the playoffs. Same with, I mean, Matthew Bounds. He hasn't raced in 6, 7 months. He's in the playoffs, but other than recruiting, there's really nothing you can do there. I mean, and that's something that obviously with next year's format, um, the whole Friday night series will change completely. So um, that'll again that hasn't been dropped officially, but um, Friday
Well,
nights next year will be a lot different. It'll be more open to everyone because A squared is more or less open to everyone as long as they're approved by A squared admins. So um, that's a little bit on me, but that's kind of what I wanted. I mean, I wanted these owners of A squared to pull from our Ignition series because that's exactly what NASCAR does. That NASCAR pulls from the Xfinity series. They don't go over to the dirt track and pull a guy out of a dirt car unless it's Jonathan Davenport in a truck or something. They're not pulling from the local dirt tracks. They're pulling from Xfinity. Maybe trucks, but mostly Xfinity. So it
yeah, I
it
think that's great. I
yeah
mean,
it
honestly,
it did exactly
to
what it
me,
was supposed to do, and unfortunately now Smeal's left with like the remnants of the people that didn't get picked up for A squared, or of course some people just dropped because schedule, or they had another league, or they just completely left. But yeah, it's a struggle that everybody deals with. I mean, even Blake said HTL deals with it too. I mean, and like I said, so that's, I mean, ABN deals with it, HTL deals with it, ARX deals with it,
I
OG,
mean,
they deal with
let's
it.
be
It's
fair. I mean, it happens because people want to be important in the postseason, and if they get wrecked or they have a shitty season, you know, now that the playoffs are here, and they're not in it, they don't, they're not important.
yeah,
They say, "Fuck it, I'm not racing because there's nothing for me." So I mean, all leagues are going to go through that. It is what it is.
yeah.
Um,
And I
but
mean, again, I mean, we'll go to the chat again. I mean, since Aiden has so much to say. Um,
he's very talkative. He should be on here.
Speaking of, he's talking about roster change rules. I changed my drivers twice outside the window, and nobody but Bandit Racing said a word. But earlier, someone mentioned in the chat letting Dirt run as a privateer or another team, and he said roster change window is closed. We have had a rule since the beginning of the year that if a driver left the Discord, that team owner was able to replace that driver because they were no longer in the Discord. So I am not the only team that has had that happen. Sunday Money Racing had Cody Pennell leave their team, leave the Discord, and Sunday Money Racing picked up Donald Ray which used to be on Presidential Racing. So I don't know what you're trying to get at, honestly. That rule is in effect for all teams. It has been since day one. That if any driver left the ARC's Discord, that team owner was allowed to pick up a driver to replace them outside of the roster change window. Um, Presidential Racing, obviously, I had Donald Ray leave the Discord, so I replaced Donald Ray. Sunday Money Racing had Cody Pennell leave the Discord. They replaced Cody Pennell. I had Merrick Watchhorn leave the Discord, so I was allowed to replace Merrick Watchhorn. I'm not happy that that two of my drivers left the Discord. I mean, Donald Ray, he said, "I don't want to do this anymore. I I'm done. I don't want to race." And I respected him for that, and he left ARCS. And that was the rule that everyone in that series agreed on, that was the rule moving forward, and that's the rule that we'll have in 2024 as well. And Sunday Money Racing used that same rule. Prophecy Racing, I told Prophet that I can't let them change drivers unless their driver left the Discord. Well, he had Joshua Garrison, he had Dustin Painter. They didn't leave the Discord, even though they may not be able to fully run. They did not leave the Discord. They were still in the ARC's Discord, and that is the rule that we have had from, like I said, from when everyone agreed that is the rule that we're putting into place.
I wish that
And
I would have read the rule book because Alex,
yeah,
he,
Stitch,
he ran.
y'all could have kicked Stitch out of the Discord, and
Yeah, that would have been nice if I'd have known that rule. If I'd have read the damn rule book, I mean, I would have probably pushed for that. I mean, I like Alex. I think he's a good dude. He's funnier than hell, but
yeah.
he really fucked us in team standings. I mean,
Oh yeah.
what he raced like 3 races, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and it would have been nice if I'd have known that, or if Sears would have spoke up and said that. I mean, hell, I think we'd have petitioned to do that. So
Yeah, I mean, so again, I mean, I could sit here and argue all night. I mean, it's just, again, at the end of the night, everything that is done, 50% of the people are gonna be like, "Yep, good to go. Yeah, we like it," and 50% are gonna go, "Boo, fuck
I'm
you."
sorry, but Blake just brought up a great point. Aiden said that his league had 3.5K in sponsorship money at some point, and then Blake said it sounds silly to try and not keep your 3.5K league running. That's a pretty fucking valid point. So,
Mm,
but
yeah, you know.
I don't know. Again, you can go on for days about this. It's not the
yeah.
first time it'll happen. It's not the last time it'll happen. But um, yeah, I don't know. So
Well, so let's change gears just a little bit, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Uh, so Reynolds, I was battling you for the regular season championship, and I lucked out and got it from you. Um,
by one fucking race, you lucky
how
son of a bitch.
how do you feel about the rest of the playoffs, man? Like, are you getting pretty pumped up for all these races coming up, or how are you feeling? Because I'm telling you right now, I'm taken by surprise. Me myself, I didn't realize that Darlington had changed so much, or at least a set changed so much. Now I'm kind of unsure. If the rest of the sets changed as much as Darlington did, I might be in trouble. So how do you feel?
I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about the sets. I'm more worried about um trying to keep it consistent because I feel like that's where it's gonna come down to because I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think I'm winning a race for the rest of the season.
I mean, I feel the same way. I mean, shit, I got one win. I mean, I was lucky enough to get one win during the regular season.
Oh, Blake also just said that the cars are going to change Wednesday, so we'll see. But also, yeah, I don't know. So that's
That's
that
your
much.
official answer. You don't know.
I don't know. Honestly, it could with this Wednesday change, it could be something big like it was in the beginning of the year. So you never know. But um, I don't know. I just hope they fix these fucking sets because I can live with it, but it's just not fun to drive.
I struggle. I struggle with these cars. This car tonight, I'm actually surprised I haven't finished. To be honest with you, I mean, I've spent a lot of time. I mean, you guys know. I mean, I practice a lot. I'm always talking to people, trying to figure out what they know. Whatever can make me better. Um, but I still, to this day, I mean, I've been in iRacing now for a little over a year, and I still struggle with these extremely loose sets. The snappy loose sets are the ones that really get me, and I can't figure out what to do to make it any better. Um, if I drive it off the right front, I'm good. But at like tonight at Darlington, if you drive it off the right front gets hot. Well, guess what? The rear is still hot, so you're going to be tight going in and extremely loose coming off.
Yep.
So there was no fixing that car tonight. So that's where I'm going to struggle. So hopefully, this was the only track in the playoffs that's going to be like that, and then I'll feel much better.
Well,
But
I don't know if you were there for. I think it was Vegas last year in the spring. Ryan, you'll probably remember this. It was one of the honestly one of the worst races I think that I've ever had. Well, I think everybody has ever had an A squared. It was
Yeah.
so fucking bad. The sets, I posted this on Twitter that it's insane how fucking bad iRacing can make a setup. Like I like to fuck around and just test sessions and just see how absurd I can make cars sometimes, and I'll learn little bits and pieces. But I mean, it is impressive that you can make a car that bad for
Hmm.
a fixed session.
which one was
And
that? Was that the really tight car? Burn up the right front?
where
Did you say Vegas?
it was Vegas in spring of March 2022, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, it was last year. It was right before they had the big update for the next gen, and the setups were just, I mean, they were awful. It was like,
It was right after they got rid of the big wing on the back of it. I think that's why all the
yeah,
cars were fucked.
it
Oh,
was
I got
like
you. I wasn't even here yet. I don't think.
it
Yeah.
would push sometimes, and then it would like snap loose the next time, and then it would. I mean, it was bad. It was really bad. I mean, it was. I don't. That was when because we ran the season before that on Monday nights, and I think those setups, like, it was when they first come out with the next gen, and it was like it was like a new toy, and it was just like wide open. Like, I know Reynolds, I know you remember that, Reynolds. Like, all the setups, it was
Yeah.
just like it was
It was
wide.
fucking great.
Oh, it was wide open all the time. You never had to lift. You never had to do anything. It
And you
was
know
just
what? I wish
glued.
I wish they would bring back something like that now, like the Gen 4. I wish they
Yeah,
would have two sets of the fucking next gen. I want one with the fucking 9-inch spoiler on
yeah,
mile and a halfs and the tiny spoiler on short tracks.
yeah.
And you know what? That'd be fucking awesome because I forgot the name of the league, but it was the huge 9-inch spoiler, and it was at Indianapolis Oval. Fucking great. It was an awesome fucking race, and
Yeah.
man, I just cannot believe that. I really wish they would do something like that with the next gen. Just bring back like two versions of it, because I guarantee you, at mile and a half, the dirty air in this car is not horrific, and I guarantee you, at mile and a half with the big spoiler and iRacing, it would make the racing better.
Oh
Don't
yeah.
worry, iRacing will probably have a happy little accident like they did with the Gen 4 and come out with a higher horsepower, big wing
Yeah,
Oh my
next
god,
gen.
and Ryan, your ass would definitely be picking that for the fucking car next season. Tell you what.
Hey, we gotta do what we gotta do. We gotta do, you know. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, I remember in 2022 when we started. Obviously, we started at Daytona, so that wasn't really a problem. But I know Auto Club. I don't think they made the change at Auto Club. I think it was the week after, and that would have been Vegas if I remember correctly. That's when they made the change to the car, but they didn't change the setups. And that
Yes,
Vegas
yes,
setup was so ass. Like like I said, if you got it to stick, it would push, it would be tight. But if you didn't get it in the track, that some bitch would be fucking sideways. Even if you didn't give it any gas, like you could just let it
yeah.
coast through the corner, and that some bitch should be sideways. Yeah, I remember
And
that. That was awful.
me and Miles Nelson, you guys know who he is. We all whenever we run the next gen, we have two jokes for the next gen. We call it the loose flat, and it's nowhere close to a loose flat. But sometimes if you send it in there just right at like
Mhm.
95% throttle, it'll stick for some fucking reason.
Mhm.
And then you got the vacuum cleaner, and it feels like you're at the bottom of that vacuum cleaner where that car is just sitting on top of the racetrack and kind of just hovering over a fucking carpet, and it's like just bouncing, and it doesn't feel like it's on the racetrack. You know what I mean? And it's horrible.
Absolutely, it is. But I mean, that's the next gen. I mean, the set tonight, obviously, from what I heard from a lot of people, was not great, and
Wait
you
till
know,
next week.
yeah, I was gonna say the setup next week maybe shit too, but I mean,
Well, I mean, it's Kansas. I mean, these cookie cutter mile and a halfs are generally not too bad.
yeah,
Yeah,
usually. I mean, Kansas is obviously more of a highline setup. I mean, when we had the ability to have custom setups, it helped, you know, with being able to run the bottom and being competitive versus running the top. There was kind of everybody could run wherever they wanted to, but obviously we can't do that anymore. So you get what you get with the iRacing setup, and sometimes it's ass, like the meme. Sometimes it's shit. Sometimes it may be shit. Sometimes it may be good. It's just,
yeah,
that's what the iRacing setup is. But it is what it is at this point. We're not changing it. We probably won't change it next year either. I mean, hopefully they get these setups a little bit better to where they race a little bit more like the real cars. But I mean, I know
The
y'all.
response that I had heard was that they want the cars to be easier to drive, which, if that's true, because they want everybody and officials to be able to race the car.
Yeah.
But if it was like tonight, I can tell you right now, there
Mm.
there is no one happy with this set.
Yeah, I don't, and I think everybody running officials would probably, or fixed officials would probably feel the same way. I mean, I know I did turn a couple laps.
fucking Brent in the chat thought the car handled great. Of course he fucking
Yeah,
did.
well, he won, so I would imagine he probably thought the car handled pretty good. But I mean, it, it is what it is. I mean, but the only thing that I can say is everyone has the same setup. Obviously, we're a fixed setup league, so even when we had custom setups there for a short time, everybody had the same custom setup, but now everyone has the same custom iRacing setup. So, you know, if somebody's does, I mean, Reynolds, you bitched about the setup. You told me there'd be 15 plus cautions tonight, and
I
there were
seriously
none.
fucking did.
There were
I
none.
thought it was
So
fucking done.
obviously
Except
you
for
don't.
stage, there were none.
Yeah, obviously you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So I'm not gonna
That's
listen to you
normal.
ever again.
I
But
well, I clearly underestimated the field's skill level. So
yeah, well, yeah, there it's A squared is there's some talent in there for sure. I mean, that's why I love racing in A squared. It's regardless of all the bullshit and all the, stupid shit that we have to put up with on a week to week basis, that's, you know, that's a series that I really do enjoy racing because obviously not, because it is, my baby, even going back to NASCAR Heat 4, but the competition, and you can pretty much ask anyone in the field how the competition has just grown times 10, even just from last year. And I think next year will be even more intense, with even more competition coming in. Um, like Fetter Place has said before, I love that. I mean, that it helps me. If I finish 12th and I see, the 11 people in front of me and I see how good they are, it makes me feel privileged and like honored. Like, hell yeah, I finished 12th. Like, that's it's hard to say that. And I mean, obviously there's a lot of leagues out there. There's thousands and thousands of leagues on iRacing, but um, I feel like ARCS has a lot of really, really competitive drivers, especially in A squared, because obviously the draft, and we'll have the draft next year as well. Um, that makes that makes it to where you don't have people like, Patrick Allen Jr. or Nick Fisher. They're not in A squared because they're not getting drafted. Um, you have very, very, very high talent. And for the most part, I would say 90 to 95% of the drivers also drive with respect. And that's something that is very, very, very hard to deal with, in any league, is, drivers that not only are they fast, but they drive with respect. They know, if somebody behind them is faster than them, they're not going to cut their nose off, or they're not going to. No, I'm not saying that that doesn't happen in A squared. It does. But
I was going to say, oh, wait a second.
yeah, it does happen. But for the most part, everybody's is aware of, their surroundings. They understand who's behind them, who's in front of them. And that's something that I do, feel proud about. Just having everybody, race with respect. I mean, like I said, the fact that y'all ran Darlington with no cautions and other than the stage breaks, that's phenomenal. I mean, that is a tough track. That I know that the setup sucked ass. Like I'm fully aware that that setup was awful. Um, and to not have any cautions, that's a pretty big feat for everybody that was in that race. So shout out to everybody that ran tonight, and running on a Saturday, in the midst of college football season starting. That was pretty cool too. So
I think there's something to that, really. There's been quite a few races that I've been in that the set, the car, the track, the settings of the lobby, I mean, whatever, have been terrible. And people say, there's going to be a wreck fest. There's going to be tons of cars wrecked out and this, that, and the other. And they end up being some of the cleanest races
mhm.
and cautionless races I've ever been in. I wonder if there's something to that, maybe because people were too busy, driving the track instead of trying to outrun everybody, or, being comfortable and knowing that they can push really hard and run people over.
Yeah,
Whenever you don't like your race car, you generally take good care of it because you don't want to end up wrecked. I mean, I
absolutely.
wonder.
Yeah, I mean, I agree 100%. And I'll never forget. And this has nothing to do with A squared, but y'all remember the OAP race that we ran with those, um, old school, like 2014, Chevrolet SS Monte Carlos. We were at Atlanta, and I remember in practice everyone was like, "This car is shit. You can't do anything. These things are fucking wrecking loose. We can't do shit. This is gonna be a fucking shit show. This is awful. Blah 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 blah." We ran 130, 114 or 124 laps. Green flag the entire way. Never had a caution. And I feel like A squared's the same way sometimes. Like everybody's like this setup's ass. This car sucks. This league sucks. The admins suck. Everything sucks. And then we go green flag, the whole way other than stage breaks. And it's like, I mean, yes, the car might suck, but obviously everybody figured it out enough to keep the car underneath them, not wreck other people, and still keep the race, green flag. So, I agree. It's sometimes you when you have to battle the car and the track, you don't even really worry sometimes about what's behind you. You're just trying to keep that car planted in the track, keep it going straight, and then nobody, nobody wrecks. It works out.
Right. Right. I mean, if you're comfortable with your race car, you're willing to push it. And,
Yeah.
if you're not, like I wasn't tonight, you don't want to push it because the limit of that race car seems to change lap after lap.
Mhm.
And if you push it too much, you're in the fence. If you don't push it enough, you're going to get ran over, or hey, maybe you'll save your stuff.
Yeah,
But, you know,
for sure.
but is there so just out of curiosity, is there any next season 24 rule changes or anything you want to divulge yet? You know, let us know.
Yeah, so for I mean, I can't speak for other leagues, but for A squared, we have a um completely updated 24 rule book. A lot of people say, "Hey, we brought this up and you didn't do anything about it or you didn't make any changes." And that, there's a reason for that, obviously, because most of the time when we do make rule changes, we get crucified for it. So we have listened to all drivers. I mean, we really have. We've listened to everything that everyone has said, um, and we have came up with a really what we feel is a really good rule book for 2024. We'll have a huge, I'm talking everybody in the Discord that can make it come out type deal to show the 2024 rulebook for A squared. Even if you don't plan on running A squared, you can come and listen because we want everyone's input um, to
That'd be pretty sweet. I mean,
yeah to just to try and find anything that we may have missed or overlooked because like I said, it's me, Kent, Tom Sears, Seth, and James Kerr. Toby was involved for a little bit, but he's been busy, so he's kind of in and out at this point. But we have really spent a lot of time um, tightening up the rule book for 2024, just because we really do want to make the racing fair for everyone. We don't want anyone to feel like they're singled out. So we've put together a rule book in 2024, and like I said, probably late January or early February, we'll have a huge meeting in the ARCS Discord for everyone. Uh, like I said, regardless of whether you're in A squared or not, you can come out, you can hang out with us. We'll drink some beers together. We'll have kind of like a party night almost, but we'll let everybody look through the rule book and say, hey, I don't like this, or what about this, or hey, you forgot about this. We want everyone to be involved. Obviously, we won't be able to necessarily implement everything that's brought up because some things may not be, um, you know, a great idea. I mean, everybody has ideas. So yeah, there's some things that we won't necessarily implement, but we're gonna listen. Um, but we feel like uh, I personally feel like the 2024 rulebook is pretty solid for A squared. It has everything down to team moves, what you can and can't do as a team owner, who you can, when you can release drivers, when you can't release drivers, it has the playoff points, it has everything from start to finish. And of course, next year we're getting rid of the heats for A squared. So there will be no
Oh,
heats. Yeah, there will be no
okay.
heats anymore for 2024. So it will be
What
straight up just like NASCAR, practice, qualifying, race from race one till the end of the season. So, um,
what made you change your mind about heats?
um, that's one thing that I had said before I would never change for A squared. Just because it kind of gave us our identity. We've done it.
Definitely was unique.
Yeah, I mean, even going back to Heat 4 and Heat 5, um, that's something we did. And the reason we did that back then is because we had so many drivers that we actually even had last chance qualifier races in NASCAR Heat 5. And you can ask like Thomas Andrews, Tom Sears, some of the guys that have been around for a long time. Those were the most stressful moments ever. Like it was insane how stressful those were. And even like the first year of A squared when we came to iRacing, we still had those heats and a last chance qualifier. Like this year, we didn't have that last chance qualifier. We took that out. But you ask some of the guys that were in that LCQ, and there was only maybe 4 spots, and there was 8 people racing in the LCQ. Dude, your heart rate would be close to 200. Trying to get into those races.
Oh, I bet.
Um, but yeah, we're dropping heats next year. I put a thing in the A squared Discord, just kind of getting everybody's feel for what they wanted, and it was pretty much unanimous that people wanted the heats gone. So we decided to just take the heats out for 2024. It'll make the race will finish earlier. Um, so that's a good thing for everybody too on Sunday nights. Obviously everybody, trying to get to bed and get up and go to work in the morning. So that'll be a huge help for that too. But that's the biggest rule change that we're doing. But there's a lot of really good things we have going for 2024.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier that the draft is coming back, so
Hmm.
that's cool. Is there any sort of things about that? Do we have team owners yet? Do we have?
Yeah. So the way it'll work right now, at the end of the season, um, obviously right now with Bandit being gone, they won't um, they can come back as a team if they want to. But what we had kind of discussed right now is we're looking at 8 teams with 4 drivers each. So the team owner
Damn.
and then three drivers for those 8 team owners. So that'll put you at 32 drivers full time. And then the other 8 entries will be able to be what we consider as independent drivers. So let's say that you don't get drafted when we do have draft day, which, like I said, there'll be uh, 8 team owners, obviously. So that'll give you 8, and then another 3 for each 8 teams. Um, so 32 total. If you find yourself outside of once the draft's over, the teams are built. You have 8 teams with four each. Let's say you did not get drafted, you can run as an independent next year. That's something that we're changing. So the next 8 drivers. So we will potentially have a full 40 car field next year. If we have, all 8 teams with all their, 4 drivers, including the team owner, show up, that's 32. And then if we have 8 independent drivers show up, then you'll have 40. If you have more than 8 independent drivers, then those independent drivers have to basically make their way into the show uh, via qualifying, just basically just like NASCAR. So there's potential to have full 40 car fields next year for A squared. So it's going to be a pretty big deal. But the way we have it set right now is that if a team owner for 2023 wants to bring their team into 2024, they have the first bid. So, like for presidential racing, for me, obviously, I will be bringing my team into 2024. Jeremy with Beatron Racing, he will have an opportunity to say, yes, I want to have a team next year. If he withdraws, then that opens a spot up. Same with Line Power with Tom Sears. Same with Sunday Money. Same with Bandit. So the teams that we have now will have the first opportunity to have a team. So let's say we have 5 teams locked in 2024, then we'll have 3 new teams that can come in, and that's going to be kind of just based off admins and previous, um, you know, Fetter Place. I know you've said you kind of be interested in having a team. There's a few other people that have been interested in having their own team in A squared as well. We have a lot of interest in A squared. I mean, that's what really gets me excited is a lot of people want to have a team in A squared. So, I do when we have the little bullshit every once in a while, we have a lot of interest in A squared. So 2024, I'm super excited for, and I think the draft day will be even bigger than it was this year at the beginning of the year. I think it's going to be an awesome night. We'll all party, we'll all, have some beers, have, smoke, drink, whatever, and I think it's going to be a great night.
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of time at during the draft. I thought that was great. I mean, it was unique. I've never been a part of anything like that. Um, I thought that really set ARCs apart,
Hmm.
especially A squared apart from anything else I'd ever been a part of. Um, and yeah, I've expressed interest being a team owner. I think that would be kind of cool. There's some people outside of ARCs that you know I, I've invited to the league recently, so they're here. They're kind of checking things out. Um, so if I can't be a team leader, that's fine. I'd
Okay.
be more than happy to run for somebody. But I've also keep my options open to if I'm able to be a team leader, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, and
Um,
I think there might be a couple people like I don't know if Jeremy can fully commit to being a team owner, next year. So Beatron may, back out. Obviously Bandit is backed out. Kerr's been a huge help for me on Sunday nights. So Black Acid obviously would have an invitation. Tom Sears is obviously my counterpart as an owner. So um, and same with Seth. He's been a huge help. So it's going to be interesting to say the least because I feel like we'll probably still have 4 or 5 team owners that will be able to transfer over to 2024. But that's going to, like I said, that's going to leave, you know, 3, maybe 4 new team owners to step up and, have their own team for A squared in 2024. So I'm really
Calling
looking
my
forward
team
to
Bandit Racing too.
I was gonna say, so we've been sitting here
it.
talking. We've been
If
sitting
you
here talking
start,
about next season. Reynolds, you've been pretty quiet there, buddy. Why don't you tell us about next season? Are you planning on doing your
Mainly
own
it's because
thing or
I'm
what?
high as shit right now, but we won't talk about that.
yeah,
Um,
nah, he's 21 plus, I guarantee
yes, goddamn right.
you.
Um, I don't know what I'm doing next year. I don't know if I'm running, period. I don't know if I'm even, I don't know what I'm gonna do. So we'll see.
He'll be back.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I want to run. I just like I I don't know. I
Well, I
don't.
don't know is not a good answer. And
Yeah.
here we
Yeah.
are live, and I need you to tell me what a real reason is. Is it, I mean, give me anything. Lie to me. I don't give a shit. I mean, I kind of give a shit, but, uh,
Yeah.
so what is it? Is it the racing? Is it the grueling schedule? Is it time? Is it your real life? I mean,
it, it
I don't
it
know.
it
Isn't
it
good.
works fine. The it it's a fine schedule for me. Like it works into my life good. But again, like I would like to have a social life, you know what I mean? Like I do, and I do shit outside of A squared, but like there's a shit I miss out on because of A squared. And I'm kind of like I'm not over it, but like opposed to HCL on a Monday night, like nobody's doing shit on a fucking Monday night at fucking 9, 10 o'clock. So,
Yeah.
um, but again, I don't because of HCL's weird start time. Um, I can't commit to it full time because of my job. So, um, I don't know. Well, it's time will tell, but um, I don't know. I might do part time next year. I would like to do part time next year, but I don't know. We'll see.
Well, whatever you feel like doing, obviously that's on you. But I enjoy racing with you. So it would be nice to have you back next season. I think a lot of people feel that way. Um, but I think, you know, I limit me myself. I mean, I limit myself to three league races a week. I don't
Mhm.
really have a huge social life. Uh, but I like it that way. I go to work, I come home. I have a small
Yeah.
circle of people that I talk to, and I'm completely happy with that. Um, but I'm also an older guy, so for me, I don't need a big group of friends. I don't need a bunch of people to go hang out with. I just go to work, come home, hang out with you all on iRacing, and do it all over again.
Yep.
So I mean,
Yeah, see, Reynolds is a college kid, so he's gotta try and get that college experience.
hey, if you're
Yeah.
in college, go get laid, go get drunk, go party.
Yeah.
Hey,
Go do
hey,
what you
I
and
gotta do.
and
Hey,
yeah, I ain't
again,
mad at you.
and
as
and
much as I
and
sorry, as
art.
much as I enjoy oval racing, it's not my thing. I didn't start in oval racing. I started on road course racing and Indy cars.
Yeah.
It's I enjoy road course racing in road course cars like the Indy car and the GTP class a lot. I really like the GTP class, but I just can't find any fucking leagues that run it.
Mhm.
So I mean that's my fucking issue, but I don't know.
Well,
That's
you
respectable. I mean,
go to college, and when you flunk out in 2 years, Arcs will still be here. And when you don't want to do college anymore, you can come run Arcs again. We'll still be here.
Yeah, I'll
I
be
may not
Patrick
be.
Allen Jr. Jr.
I was gonna say I may not be the owner anymore. There might be somebody else in charge, but I'm sure they'll still be around in 2 years when you know do.
Ryan, you say that silly shit, and you were what beginning of the year saying, "Oh, this is my last season. I'm never doing this shit again."
Yeah, I
Here you are. Hey, 24 is going to be awesome.
yeah I have a problem. I think I haven't updated the stats yet, but I'm pretty damn sure if not this weekend, maybe next weekend, I'm gonna be making my 500th start in arcs, and that is
Damn,
just sad.
Mm.
that's fucking wild.
That is sad on so many levels. But yeah, I will be making. Like I said, I haven't updated the stats in I think over a month, and I'll get them updated eventually because nobody else does it because nobody does shit. Got to do everything by myself. But
Yeah, your admin team is fucking asleep most of the
yeah,
time.
well, Fiend's asleep. Can't even do a damn podcast without
What a bitch.
without help. But yeah, I think I am very, 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 very close to 500 starts in arcs, and I have I think like 21 or 22 wins, and that's just the percentage there is not very good, folks. It's not good. 500 starts and 22 wins. That's but it's better than quiet and Cody Riggs. Cody Riggs is still looking for his first ever ARCS win after like 150 starts. So
Hey, uh, maybe I'm a glass half full type person, but I would say if you were the league owner and you had the most wins,
yeah, it would look
might
pretty
be
fishy.
might be an issue.
It'd be a Merrick Watchhorn part two.
Fucking 16. Hey, look at me! I got 16 wins.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then look at me. I fucking crashed out in the last quarter of Watkins' butt and fucking had a hissy fit and left.
Yeah. Well, I did sign him to my team, so I mean it's kind of on me. But yeah, he did
That
say
would have
that
been fucking me last season.
he did say he was gonna have 16 wins or 15 wins in A squared, and he ran one race and then quit. So and then other shit happened that you know we well,
Interesting events happen.
I mean,
yeah,
to be
interesting
fair,
events happened.
I can't say a whole lot about him. I don't know him that well. I can sit here and shit talk him, but what's the fun in that? I would have liked to have seen him do a bunch of races so that way I could see so that myself that I could judge him to find out, is he fast? Is he not fast? Was
Yeah.
he all smoke and mirrors or was he did he know his shit? I mean, I don't
I
I like to race people, so
I do too. I fully. I mean, and usually when someone new comes into ARCS, especially if they're in a voice chat and I get to talk to them for a little bit, I usually can tell pretty quickly whether that individual is a decent human being or they are just absolutely full of shit. And I'll be completely honest. The first time I talked to him, I didn't like him. I mean, on a personal, just face to face, well, not face to face, but Discord to Discord,
voice to voice,
voice
right?
to voice.
I
I,
got you.
I didn't I didn't like him, but the dude was fast. He's got talent. I'm not gonna deny that. That's why I signed him to my cup team because I thought he was gonna stick around and race races and you know be competitive, which he would have been, but the car did one little thing that he didn't like, and because we have people like Brandon Proudfoot and Tommy Reynolds and Aiden Norman and uh, I'm sure there's others on road courses that are just bad fast and next gen, but those three come to mind. Emma's a really really fast
Yeah,
road course
yeah,
racer.
Emma's
Um,
fast.
those they were out driving him, and he pushed it so hard that he wrecked it, and then he was like, I'm not driving this car. This car's shit. It's like it's shit for everybody, dude. Like we all drive the same shitty car, but we
Yeah,
deal with
like
it. Like
again, I complain, but at the end of the day, it's a fucking like I'm not gonna be. I don't know. Again,
yeah,
all he did was complain. You know what I mean? Like it was just
yeah, and
Your 15 wins don't mean anything whenever I beat you with COVID.
exactly.
yeah.
I mean,
Sorry.
yeah, you finished
My
seventh.
back hurt. Yeah.
Yeah,
My
you
back
fin-
hurt. My everything
yeah,
through here hurt. I could hardly breathe. I was
yeah,
running a fever and I was out there running.
yeah. I mean,
That's either sad or noble, one or the
yeah,
other.
you finished sixth or seventh, and he finished 18th, like 2 laps down. So
Right.
it's and like, again, on road courses, I would have did the same. I would have been in 18th with him. I would have been 2 laps down, but
You
I
know
wouldn't.
what? If I did that shit on my fucking debut after talking all that, I would fucking uninstall. I'm gonna be so fucking honest with you.
Yeah,
I would have been fucking absolutely embarrassed.
yeah, it wasn't a good race for him, but that's what separates the people that owners want on their teams versus don't want on their teams. If you have somebody you bring in and after one race they say, you know what, fuck this shit, I'm out. Like nobody wants that person in any of their leagues. Like we didn't. Thomas Andrews and Tom Sears and Rick James would not have wanted him in TNT. SNS, he ran the first two races and he boasted about how he was the points leader, even though I beat him at Daytona. And he was like, "Ah, well, yeah, you got lucky. I could have wrecked you." And I was like, "Well, yeah, but you didn't, and I beat you." So, but and then Charlotte Roble, he was like, well, Ryan, I'm glad you're not showing up because you know, I'm like, dude, I have a life. Like, I do shit on Saturday nights sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not worried about SNS points. Like, I'm
And
sorry. Like,
back to the A squared thing. Like, how many other leagues you see me show up to throughout the fucking week? Like, I got shit to do. I
yeah,
gotta
I
fucking
mean,
work.
yeah,
Like,
people have lives, and that. I mean, and that's why I'm okay with people that sometimes they come in and they're like, hey, I want to run this, and then they can't run that because something came up and they have to work or whatever. Like, I get it. We're all trying to make a living. We're trying to work and have enough money to pay our bills and have a little bit left over for some beer and some potato soup if we're lucky. I mean, if
potato
not,
soup. What the fuck?
well, that's what I eat: potato soup and ramen noodles. So
Yep, ramen noodles been there.
y'all can tell I'm not high on the hog over here in Georgia, but
I get the fucking ramen, but what the fuck is potato soup?
You never
that,
had potato? Well, no, I don't eat it either. I've had chicken noodle and bean with bacon soup. And
yeah,
that's pretty much about it.
I've had
Yeah,
I've had some sausage gumbo and potato soup. That's my two go-tos when it comes to soup. But
I gotta
yeah,
fucking Google this shit.
yeah, Google it. It's probably a Georgia thing. You may not know what it is. You're up there in Chicago. They probably have clam chowder or some bullshit up there in Chicago.
Chicago.
Clam chowder.
Yeah, y'all got that clam chowder.
Oh,
That's
this shit looks fucking good.
Sam would or Sears would say clam chowder.
Yeah, fucking clam chowder. You got the
Chowder.
fucking clam chowder with your car keys. You gotta get your car keys out with your clam chowder.
Park my car in the yard and go get some clam chowder.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Alright, well,
Oh
I don't
man.
know if we really got anything accomplished in this podcast other than just stirring shit up, but I mean, I was just channeling my inner Kevin Feemster, who actually got a penalty not this race but last race for race comms because he's can't
hate
keep
to
his
see it.
fucking mouth shut. I
I'm
told him
surprised.
too. I told him I was like, Fame, shut up. Like, dude, you are battling. Like, you are battling. Like, if someone new wins, you are gonna lose. Like, you're not gonna make the playoffs because you're running your fucking mouth. Shut up, Fame.
And you know what? People in the playoffs are in a rough position right now because Jeremy hasn't run yet and he's only
Mhm.
-5.
Mhm.
So people are gonna have a rude awakening next week when you also start running because it's
Yeah.
gonna start shaking up.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be well. Luckily, there were a few playoff contenders that were not able to run, so I guess I did a little bit of good by putting it on Saturday night, cause like half the playoff field couldn't fucking race tonight. So, but yeah,
Come on,
next,
no one has a life on a Saturday night. Come on.
yeah, no, but plus college football starting, yeah, fuck that. Nobody watches college football. That's for losers. Like. Let's
Fucking
be
loser.
real. But yeah,
Yeah,
Kansas is gonna be crazy for sure.
I'm pretty excited. I think like I said, I'm fucking worried about the sets, but
Yeah.
it is what it is. I'm ready to see what Reynolds is gonna do because, well, fuck Reynolds. He's up front
Mhm.
all the time. Fuck that guy.
I'm just
And
trying to make it to the final four. That was the goal at the start of the season, and I'm keeping it that way. I don't care if
Mhm.
I don't win the fucking championship. I just want to make it to the final four.
I
you
just
know
want to
that
make it
was
to the round of 12. If I can do that, I'll be happy.
that was
That's
my
what.
goal too. I told Sears, I was like, in the beginning of the season, I said I just want to make it. That's really
Yeah.
my only goal because I know this league is really tough. There's a lot of tough
Yeah.
drivers in here. I said I just want to make it. And now that I made it, I'm like, hey, I'd like
maybe,
to win it
maybe,
all.
yeah, maybe I can make it all the way.
Hey, hey,
I
let's do
I
some
ain't
shit.
winning
Let's see what
shit.
happens.
I ain't winning shit. I'll tell you that.
But if I can't
You're
pull off
full of
any
shit.
wins, I think whoever wins the chip this season is going to be people who can win in the playoffs. And
I agree.
I've ended up with one win all season, a bunch that I should have won that I didn't for one reason or another because I suck or because someone else fucked it up for me, whatever it is. But if I can't pull off a win in the playoffs, I'm not winning it either.
Yeah,
That's just my
I
own
think
personal opinion.
that's why I'm gonna go race Kansas like my fucking dog's on fire. I'm gonna fucking just drive through the field like I mean anybody
He's
that gets in my way, whether they're
Like my
teammates.
dog's on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna drive through the field all right, and he's gonna scream at everybody for fucking touching him on the racetrack
Oh,
and bring him into the holler.
absolutely.
He's gonna be
Absolutely. You
like
know, that's what I
fucking
do.
2012 Kurt Busch.
Yeah, I'm gonna be screaming to my crew chief. What the fuck? We bring these shit ass cars every fucking week.
I hate
Shit
my
ass.
fucking
I
job.
hate my fucking job. I don't even get paid for this shit. Who's in charge of this operation?
Eating ice cream, fucking slamming into people like it's Days
Yeah.
of Thunder.
That's funny.
Long as I don't get the Seth Wansing moment in TNT, I think I'll be all right. Luckily, Lighter got it last week, which was not Lighter, Mongold. Sorry, Lighter. Didn't mean to throw you down like that. You probably would have gotten it in A
Carmen
squared
should
at
add
some
that
point.
to it.
I was gonna say he would have gotten it in A squared if Carmen had the Seth Wansing move of the race, but Austin
Proudfoot
Mongold,
got it.
Austin Mongold got it in TNT at Daytona, and it was the it was the funniest shit. I was watching the
Dude, that is,
broadcast, and he
I
gave me,
fucking laugh my ass off. Dude, if they
oh
start doing that shit on the broadcast, I'm gonna lose my mind. That shit was so fucking funny. The Seth Wansing move of the race.
yeah. What
Well,
What
are
was the
you
all right.
other
Well,
one?
he did it in HCL, and then now he did it tonight. So he's on a fucking streak.
That's
What
true.
was
He's
the
just got
other
to
one
keep it
that he did?
going.
He did two awards. He did the Seth Wansing move of the and there was another one.
Uh,
Um. Oh, Cole
it's
Trickle move.
yeah, it's a cold
Or,
trickle
Oh,
move.
that's right. Cole Trickle move. That
Yeah,
shit was fucking
where
awesome.
he's like ice cream.
all right. We need to wrap this shit up, boys.
Yeah, we do.
Shut up, you big sissy.
Yeah, it's been like
I got to get up at fucking 7 a.m. tomorrow.
it's been like 2 hours and 16 minutes. So I think we're good. So all right,
All right,
Feemster,
well,
fuck you. You didn't do anything to help this podcast, but yeah. So thanks Reynolds, thanks Fetter Place for coming on. It
thanks
was
for having us.
yeah, it was honestly I thought we would only go for like an hour, and we went for 2 hours and 16 minutes. So
That was a
pretty
pretty good one.
pretty impressive if you ask me. But yeah,
Telling you
we'll
what, I'm gonna come up with some good hard hitting questions on the next one. We're gonna figure some shit out.
yeah, let's do it. Let's figure
I
some
didn't
shit
write
out.
anything down, so I started forgetting stuff as this went on.
Next podcast, everybody comes with a list.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Y'all don't want to know my list. That shit. No. Yeah, that'd be
With
bad
as
news.
emotional as you are, whenever people start fucking with you in chat, yeah, I need to know this list. I want to hear all the fucking questions. Let's get it all out.
Yeah, I'll put my Stetson Bennett jersey on next time we do it, and I'll enter my old drunkard, old Stetson Bennett with the DUI over there in Texas. I'll make it full circle, baby.
Then hell, Mr. Dog Man over there, he's pretty vocal in the chat. Need to bring him in on one of these.
Yeah.
Let him talk his shit.
Well, I mean, yeah, we need to get Blake in here. I mean, Blake runs HTL, so he's got kind of the same shoes as me, and he's a fellow Georgia boy.
I've talked
Loves,
shit to him, but hey, we worked really well at Daytona.
yeah,
So I mean, he's a good race car driver. I mean, I just talk shit
absolutely.
to him
I
in PM.
I love Blake. I mean, I'm running for him in HTL for one of his teams, running the 2, which is the weirdest shit ever. I have not been in a car that has not been the number 12 in a long time. So being in that 2 car, that's a little weird for me. But yeah, I love Blake, and I mean he's got a great league over there in HTL too. So yeah, we'll get with Feem and get Blake on here next podcast and get his get his input. I mean, he, like I said, he's another league owner. um, see what he thinks about, some of the shit we're dealing with in ARCs. I know that HDL deals with some of the same shit sometimes, which is, a lot of times is
They're they
bullshit,
have
but
to be they have to be worse. I mean, like I said, I talked a little bit of shit to Blake. I mean, I meant no hard feelings, but I spent 2 races over there, and they were fucking wreck fests, and I
yeah.
was like, dude,
Damn.
like, what are we doing? I was like,
Yeah.
I'm trying out your league because I want to race where people that I race with race, because
Yeah.
evidently it's a fun league. There's evidently a lot of people over there,
Mhm.
and I was not impressed.
Yeah.
But it's as it was explained to me, it was a preseason. One of them was a preseason race, and the other one was a fun run charity race. So nobody was really taking it that serious. They were kind of just
Yeah.
trying to have fun, and shit happens. So I
But
told him I'd like to check it out on a Monday.
yeah, I mean
Whenever
that's
my season ends.
that's the shit I'd like to talk to him about, because I mean we do the same things, I mean we do fun runs, we do we do the clash and shit like that. I mean I can learn from other league owners. I mean that's how we make this better, overall is getting,
Right.
okay, this league had an issue with this. Well, maybe we can change that, to where we don't have that same issue. And I've had a lot of people tell me, that if A squared didn't, because I know I've threatened, several times that I was like, I'm fucking done with this shit. And yeah, I say that in the moment because I get, pissed off and I get upset. But um, HTL's right there, running the same shit we're running, running the same setups, running, the next night. So me and Blake are really good friends, and we kind of bounce ideas off each other. So I'd love to have him on the next podcast. So we'll get Feem. We'll make sure he doesn't pass out on his couch next time, and we'll
He
get
should have had
Blake.
plenty of rest. He was wrecked out fucking quarter of the way through.
6 laps in.
Right.
Yeah.
He had plenty of rest.
So we'll get Blake on next time, but we're gonna close this shit out now. We've been going for way too long. So appreciate y'all tuning in. Everybody that was in the chat, thank y'all. Better Place. Now y'all know what he looks like. He's not a Duck
Yep.
Dynasty character, as Reynolds would say. So
Nope. I'm not. I'm just
he's
a ugly looking fella
yeah,
who worked a lot and tries iRace.
yeah. He looks just like a normal person like the rest of us. So all right, appreciate y'all tuning in, and we'll try and have another one here pretty soon. We'll get Feem on here, maybe get Blake on here, and maybe a couple others. But appreciate y'all tuning in.